President Biden is going all in to win over never-Trump Republicans. His campaign has officially launched a new effort to court Republicans who have no interest in backing the former president, including those who voted for Nikki Haley, because she may now bring them over to Trump's side. The Biden campaign's outreach will be led by a former staffer to ex-GOP Congressman and Trump critic Adam Kinzinger, who served on the January 6th committee. That is extraordinary. So let's talk about this with former Democratic New York Congressman Max Rose and Amanda Carpenter, writer and editor for Protect Democracy and a former senior staffer to Republican Senators Jim DeMint and Ted Cruz. Amanda, this is super interesting. Is this challenge for this group to convince these voters that they're not just voting against Trump, but that they're voting for Joe Biden, who's going to do things for them?
Yeah, I mean, that's the trickiest thing here. How do you convince Republican voters that they can still be a Republican and retain that Republican identity and vote for Biden in these extraordinary times? And I know there's a lot of smart, enthusiastic Republicans that have been waiting for Biden to do this. They're kind of finally like, OK, now you're calling. Finally, this is good. But I actually think the kind of slow warm up, the long getting to know you is actually pretty smart, because what the Biden campaign can do is invite these people to be a part of the process. I actually think that highlighting the disagreements that they may have is the secret to this sauce, because a lot of Republicans feel politically homeless. Donald Trump makes it very hard to support him. So if a lot of Haley voters can get to a place and say, you know what, even though I disagree with Biden on things, I know I will be heard. I know I will be respected, and we can find some core priorities to work together on. I think that's a winning formula.
But Nikki Haley doesn't feel that way. Donald Trump disrespected her right, left, and center, and she's backing him. But he doesn't seem to be spending any time courting those voters or even showing appreciation to her. Does he just assume those voters will be on board with him?
Absolutely. Look, Donald Trump has always run a base-first campaign, right, where he is constantly seeking to rev up this vengeance-first, MAGA always contingent. And that's why he is actually consistently, since 2016, that movement has lost elections. Now, yes, Nikki Haley said she was voting for Donald Trump, but that she hasn't offered resounding support. She hasn't done the Tim Scott cheerleader moment like all these other folks who Trump vanquished in the primary and now have become sycophants. And that's because I do think she understands where those supporters are of her, former campaign. They want nothing to do with Trump because they are actually value voters. They're just value voters who are thinking about things like our democracy. They're value voters that are thinking about respect for our judicial system. They're value voters who actually really truly respect the fact that even when the president's son is facing prosecution, he says, I trust our judicial system, I value law and order, and even when I see my son suffering at the hands of a system, I still believe it, I still put the country first.
He said he wouldn't pardon his own son, and Trump has floated out there that he would pardon insurrectionists.
This is the clearest juxtaposition of where these two men stand in regards to service and the country. For all those parents out there, everyone knows that you would much rather someone go after you than your kid.
Oh, my God.
Right? And so here, even when Donald Trump has been not just prosecuted, indicted, but convicted, he seeks to throw the whole judicial system under the bus, the very fabric of law and order. But President Biden, when his son is facing charges, when his son is going through a court case,
his only living son,
stands back and says, our system matters, and I believe in our system of law and order, even when it's his son. That clearly shows you that President Biden puts the country first and is a patriot, and Donald Trump only cares about himself.
Amanda, what does it say about Donald Trump that, given the stronghold Nikki Haley has over this specific group of voters, wouldn't it seem obvious that she should be his top VP pick, but she's not? What does that tell you about him?
I actually sort of have a little bit of a different perspective on who the Nikki Haley voter is, because to me, I'm not sure that she actually truly represented the movement that was behind her, because there are a lot of Haley voters that simply saw her as a vehicle to express their anti-Trump opposition. Nikki Haley never actually recognized that during her campaign, because I think she is trying to preserve a place in the MAGA Republican Party, even though they've made it entirely clear that she doesn't have a place there. And so that's that's the problem that I think Biden has an opportunity to address, right? Like, unless you buy into all of the lawlessness, all of the January 6th revisionist history, et cetera, you don't have a place in Trump's Republican Party. That is why, if you recall, he essentially said that Nikki Haley's barred from MAGA. She made T-shirts at the time, bragging up that a lot of her supporters bought those T-shirts because they understood how they were being pushed out, and they didn't have a place there anymore. Nikki Haley's decision to vote for Trump is confusing, quite frankly, to a lot of her voters. Sure, there's some people that will go along with it, but I think there's a lot more tension there because she never actually had a movement behind her.